A pilot is charged with 83 counts of attempted murder. 2 cargo ships collided in the North Sea, and superfog causes a multi-car pileup. We'll be covering all this and more on HawkTV News. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of HawkTV News. My name is Gabrielle Nadrich.
And I'm Caitlin Fortis.
Over 10,000 people in Iceland, including the Prime Minister, are set to take part in the European nation's first full-day women's strike in 48 years. Let's go, woman. The scheduled walkout is in protest of the ongoing systematic gender pay gap and gender-based violence in Iceland. The walkout is expected to be the largest by Icelandic women in almost half a century, according to the event organizers. The walkout is said to be the first all-day stoppage since 1975. Event organizers also emphasize that Iceland is the most gender-equal country in the world, but the fight to 100% continues.
An off-duty pilot is charged with 83 counts of attempted murder on an Alaska Airlines flight, according to officials. The suspect, Joseph David Emerson, was taken into custody after he allegedly tried to shut off the engines by pulling the fire extinguisher handles mid-flight. The suspect was overwhelmed by flight crew and was handcuffed to a seat. He's also facing 83 counts of reckless endangerment, a misdemeanor, and 1 felony count of endangering an aircraft. Alaska Airlines said the off-duty pilot was sitting in the flight deck jump seat and unsuccessfully attempted to disrupt the operation of the engines. There were 80 passengers and 4 crew members on the flight.
We're going to hand things off to our good pal Bryn, where she'll be sharing how to get free access to movies and shows as a Monmouth University student.
Did you know that all Monmouth students have free access to a bunch of movies and shows? This month we have Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Elf, The Hurt Locker, The Polar Express, The Night Before, Haunted Mansion, Saving Private Ryan, and many more. To access these free titles, first connect to Monmouth's Wi-Fi. Next, install the Swank Media Player app, which is available in the App Store and Google Play. Then just visit the URL hawktv.monmouth.edu to start watching. Make sure to check back each month to see the updated releases.
Thanks, Bryn. We'll have to check it out. A super fog in Louisiana has caused a multi-car pileup on Interstate 55 near New Orleans, Louisiana, after severely lowering visibility, according to the police. The crash involving at least 158 vehicles occurred on Monday morning due to heavy fog conditions. For hours after the crash, emergency crews worked to clear debris from both northbound and southbound lanes. A portion of the crash scene on I-55 caught on fire shortly after the initial incident, authorities said. The super fog was caused by smoke from marsh fires burning in the region, combined with dense fog developing in the area early Monday morning, bringing extremely low visibility. In some spots, visibility was near zero, creating dangerous driving conditions. Maybe they should get a pair of glasses.
Maybe. 2 cargo ships collided in the North Sea off the coast of Germany on Tuesday, and one of them sank, German authorities said. At least 1 sailor died, and rescuers were trying to find another 4. The vessels collided shortly before 5 a.m., about 14 miles southwest of the island of Helgoland, Germany's central command for maritime emergencies. The site of the collision was about 19 miles northeast of Landjug Island, which is just off the German mainland. 2 sailors were rescued and taken to a hospital where they weren't in a life-threatening condition. The body of 1 man was recovered while 4 other people were still missing.
Now we're handing things over to Ian for another movie commentary about the film On the Water. Take it away, Ian.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another film review. This week's film is an oldie but a goodie. Today we'll be reviewing Marlon Brando's On the Waterfront. On the Waterfront is a classic 1954 American crime drama directed by Elia Kazan. The story revolves around Terry Malloy, played by Marlon Brando, a dock worker and former boxer who becomes entangled in corrupt union practices led by Johnny Friendly, who is portrayed by Lee J. Cobb, who's worked in films such as 12 Angry Men. The film begins with Terry struggling with his conscience, witnessing a murder orchestrated by a corrupt union boss, Johnny Friendly. After this tragic event, Terry's transformation begins when he falls for Eddie Doyle, who's played by Eva Marie Saint, the sister of the murdered victim. A local priest, Father Barry, played by Carl Malden, encourages Terry to stand up against the corrupt union leaders. As Terry grapples with his loyalty to the union and his moral convictions, he decides to testify against the corrupt practices, exposing the corruption within the Longshoremen's Union. This decision, however, puts his life in danger, But Terry chooses to fight to do what is right, ultimately redeeming himself and becoming a symbol of resistance against corruption. On the Waterfront received critical acclaim and won 8 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Actor. The film is celebrated for its powerful performances, especially Brando's iconic portrayal of Terry Malloy and its exploration of social issues and individual conscience, as well as themes of morality, corruption, and redemption. Now, this film contains motifs that refer to many religious scriptures and events. For example, Eddie Doyle cradles the murdered longshoreman's corpse in the beginning of the film, like Mary cradled Jesus' body. Father Barry rises out of the cargo hold with Duggan's body, another longshoreman, as if ascending to heaven, and Charlie's corpse, who is Johnny Friendly's right-hand man, hangs by a hook, all of which are visual references to Christ's body on the cross. The overall character of Terry Malloy, in my opinion, represents a sort of Jesus figure that declines to follow the orders of his corrupt superiors and sacrifice himself for the good of his fellow longshoremen. Overall, On the Waterfront is one out of the many great films that Marlon Brando has starred in, and is a good film to just lay back and enjoy. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Epstein, and I will see you all next time.
Thanks, Ian. You know, I'm really liking this new setup they got going on.
I think it looks
over there.
fantastic.
Their screen's so nice and innovative.
Yeah, I love it.
All right. A Georgia man has been charged with murder after police said he killed his girlfriend, stuffed her body in a suitcase, and stashed it in the closet of the apartment they shared. They don't share it anymore. Frederick Durham of Thomaston was being held without bail in the Upson County Jail. Durham appeared before a judge on Monday, a Thomaston police investigator said by phone, but Durham does not yet have a lawyer who can speak for him. Officers and relatives had gone to Margaret Dubignon's apartment Friday in the town about 60 miles south of Atlanta, but didn't find her after last speaking to her on Thursday, and she was officially reported missing Saturday. Relatives said Durham and Dubignon's vehicle were also missing. Officers were called back to the apartment 90 minutes later after relatives found Dubignon's body in the suitcase. Upson County Coroner Craig Stubbs said Monday that Dubignon's cause of death will be determined once an autopsy is completed by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. License plate cameras tracked Dubignon's vehicle to Atlanta, where Atlanta police arrested Durham about 2 hours later. He was taken back to Thomaston, where he was also charged with concealing a death and tampering with evidence. Police said more charges could follow.
We have a short break, but keep watching for more HawkTV news.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Jules, spot on this last one. There it is. Keep going with it. Leo.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
A San Jose police officer has resigned after the police department found numerous, quote, disgusting text messages that demonstrated racial bias, according to a statement by the San Jose Police Department. In the statement released on Friday, the SJPD identified Mark McNamara as the officer, saying the department found the messages during an unrelated criminal investigation into one of their officers. There is zero tolerance for even a single expression of racial bias at the San Jose Police Department, Police Chief Anthony Mata said in the statement. The other employee, who has not been identified by the SJPD, was immediately placed on an administrative leave pending an internal investigation, according to the statement.
In the latest efforts to catch up with much of Europe and Africa, a proposed U.S. federal policy aims to protect older Americans from contracting HIV by offering free preventative medication under the plan from the Biden administration. Medicare would cover patients' full cost of pre-exposure prophylaxis drugs, which prevent HIV transmission. The proposed policy change represents a big shift because it means that even new long-acting injectable versions of PrEP drugs, which can cost more than $20,000 a year in the U.S., would be fully covered without requiring patients to kick in co-payments. It is not yet clear what the plan would mean for taxpayers.
A 64-year-old food delivery man was fighting for his life Monday after being shot multiple times by an assailant who ambushed him outside a Philadelphia home and stole his vehicle. According to police, the gunman in Sunday evening shooting in a North Philadelphia neighborhood remained unidentified and on the run. The shooting unfolded around 6 p.m. when the delivery man, whose name was not released, dropped off a takeout order at a home in the city's Port Richmond section. The victim was shot in the chest, back, and torso and was taken to a nearby hospital in critical condition.
We're going to be taking another quick break, but keep watching for more stories and an update on those Hawks. Mama Sports coming up next.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Nearly 1 million chickens on a Minnesota egg farm will be slaughtered to help limit the spread of the highly contagious bird flu after it was confirmed there. The U.S. Department of Agriculture announced that the virus was found at a farm in Wright County, Minnesota, as well as in 3 smaller flocks in South Dakota and Iowa. Whenever the highly pathogenic avian influenza virus is detected on a farm, the entire flock is killed, as to keep it from spreading to other farms. Sorry, very sad for the chickens. In addition to the Minnesota case, the USDA said some 26,800 turkeys will be killed on a farm in McPherson County, South Dakota, and nearly 17,000 birds in Iowa's Clay County.
The Culture Club icon of the 1980s, Boy George, is returning to Broadway in the Moulin Rouge the musical. The singer-songwriter, whose hits include Karma Chameleon and Do You Really Want to Hurt Me, will play Moulin Rouge Club owner Harold Zidler in the jukebox adaptation of Baz Luhrmann's hyperactive 2001 movie. He starts February 6th and ends May 12th at Broadway's Al Hirschfield Theater, taking over the role from Titus Burgess. Boy George was last represented on Broadway in 2003 with Taboo, for which he wrote music and lyrics. Critics largely disliked the show, which told some of his life story. He also performed in that show, but did not play himself.
Now here is Dean, finally with that update on Mama Sports.
Hello everyone, my name is Dean Heidel, and welcome to today's Monmouth University HawkTV Sports Report. Beginning today's segment, the Monmouth women's basketball team captured their first win of the season with a fantastic win over St. John's this past Friday. The team had a balanced attack led by Jay Hayes, leading the team with 15 points. Tasha Exaner and Casey Donovan scoring 14 points respectively each. Additionally, the Monmouth University men's basketball team had just pulled off a stunning upset over West Virginia with the final score of 73-65. Xander Rice, the son of Monmouth University head coach, Coach Rice, led the team with a very impressive 30-point performance, followed by Jack Collins, who had 17 points of his own. The Hawks are now 2-1 on the season, a spectacular improvement from their 2022 campaign. To conclude today's segment, the Monmouth University men's football team unfortunately dropped their final home game of the season with a final score of 31-24 to New Hampshire. The Hawks would come up just short after failing a Hail Mary attempt on the New Hampshire 30-yard line. Despite this, Dymere Miller, wide receiver, had an incredible record-setting day with an improbable 11 catches, 333 yards receiving, and 2 touchdowns. In this game, he would set the Monmouth University records for receiving yards in a single game, while also setting the program record in single-season receiving yards and receptions. Miller now has an astounding 1,243 yards on the season and 85 catches going into their final game of the season on the road against Albany. That concludes our Monmouth University Sports Report. My name is Dean Heidel, sending it back over to the main desk.
Thank you, Dean, for that Mama Sports update.
Not to be confused with the sports.
Very good point. That's all the news we have for this week's episode. Thank you all for tuning in. My name is Kaylin Fortis.
And I'm Gabrielle Nangerich. Have a great night, everyone.